Welcome back to Bat Fridays here on One Comic Book a Day, where we're covering the second story in Batman 18, Volume 1. Robin studies his lessons. This is a story about how important Robin is to Batman, or specifically fighting crime with Batman. Which I'm for. I was a little worried about that concept because it would seem kind of boring if it was just Robin studying for the entire issue. I mean, I feel like if Batman the Animated Series did this story, we'd focus on Robin actually studying while Batman was getting in trouble. But it's actually focusing more on Batman getting in trouble than Robin actually studying. And Robin gets a lot of disrespect, especially in the Golden Age, where he was a damsel in distress, essentially, for quite a bit there early on. Batman, by the way, has existed without Robin and has had stories without Robin even after Robin existed. I mean, Robin was introduced in less than 10 stories, and he's done fine, but here it seems to really get across that Batman would probably die without him. I mean, Batman gets hit in the back of the head twice in this story. Twice his weakness happens. Robin's failing all his classes, I think. His report card doesn't have percentages, or maybe they are percentages. There's just no percentage sign next to them. There's no letter grade, so I have to assume a 50 and a 55 is bad? It's the only thing that makes sense. Also, to be fair to Robin, he is taking algebra and physics. You're not going to do well in physics without a pretty good understanding of algebra. It's not impossible, but there's a lot of algebra in physics. You usually do better in physics if you have passed algebra, and probably geometry, though that's less important. Algebra 2 would also probably be very helpful. You should be probably in calculus by the time you're in physics. I was in pre-cal when I took physics. And it's not easy. And with these bad grades, he cannot be Robin. Sort of like it's an extracurricular activity like football. If his grades aren't up, he can't be Robin. He has to actually be passing all his classes, even Latin and grammar. What a strange course load for a 9 to 13-year-old. It honestly feels like it should be a higher up classman, like he's near a senior, except for having algebra. Algebra, you should be taking pretty early on in your high school career, which is why taking physics is insane while you're still in algebra. So Robin has to sit out this story while Batman goes it alone. This story, to make Robin seem more important, seems pretty clear that Batman can't get away without Robin. Like, he gets knocked in the head twice in the story. I know I've already brought this up, but he gets knocked in the head twice. I am legitimately worried about Golden Age Batman's brain damage. He gets knocked unconscious almost every single issue. Now he's doing it twice an issue. Actually, it's 3 times because this issue has more than one story in it. So Robin's off studying too much. He's basically passing out while doing it. He's not going to increase his grades doing that. Well, Batman gets easily defeated by your random gangsters of the week. I'm sure they mention a name, and it doesn't really matter if they did. There's nothing particularly special about them, other than they managed to knock out Batman twice. And there's some serious pacing issues in this comic. It's fine when Batman loses against them the first time, and even the second time, sort of. I would probably had him lose once and then immediately get kidnapped, but hey, it still works. It's when Robin has to get involved that it really starts to really lose its momentum in an amazing way. Robin does end up having to show up because, well, Batman will die otherwise. And he shows up and saves them, showing that he has some understanding of chemistry. Batman got defeated the second time because they used a special coating that got on his hands that glowed in the dark. Robin sees through this, though unfortunately it's not because of anything Robin does specifically. It's just because, well, it's cloudy outside, so the moon isn't out, so he can see it glowing, so he doesn't touch it. That's more happenstance and accident, being lucky. It's not my favorite way to have a character figure something out. I like them to be active in said story. But he does realize what's happening, gets away with it, and then releases gas on the gangsters so he can come in and save Batman. But this feels like coming in to save Batman is the climax of the story. Quite a bit of it has gone over. It is Robin proving himself to Batman, just not in the grades way that was set up. And he saves them, but then suddenly the criminals get away, and my brain's like, no, this was the climax. This was the build of the comic. There is still one more action sequence, and it's not working as the climax, because all this breakup in these 2 action beats is so Batman can berate Robin for saving his life instead of studying, because grades are what matter. Batman even thinks this is kind of ridiculous in his thought bubble, but he needs to make this clear to him. And I don't hate outright building on the character by having him have a low point, as traditional story arcs work. Not the all is lost moment. I hate Blake Snyder, but yeah, it works for Robin to kind of get beat down before he saves the day. But it's such a small break in between these two action sequences. They get away, the gangsters, only to be just outside for them to attack. They even sort of portray it as like, well, it's going to be difficult to find them. Robin just goes to the roof and throws blocks at them. The blocks with the luminous coating, because this makes them glow in the dark and it makes it easy for Batman and Robin to take them out. I guess that's okay setup, and this is actually Robin thinking, but he also proved his knowledge of chemistry when he arrived. He didn't need that like extra beat. It's this extra beat that feels so superfluous to the story. It had such a okay build. I still find the story kind of dull. There isn't a great buildup of tension in anything, even with Batman being knocked out. There isn't much drama to it. Robin's never particularly all that worried. It's so easy for him to show up and beat up these gangsters, which is not something Batman usually fails at. It's usually really dynamic with its fight scenes and some give and take. Also, a lot of punning here. So much punning. Batman even misses the punning, but he makes puns too. Also, the first time I've ever heard Robin say "holy" something in these comics. I might be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure he hasn't said "holy" before here with "holy mackerel." But that extra scene just doesn't work, especially when it's just like a small break before they attack them again, and it's once again an easy fight for them. It didn't make much sense how they got away in the first place, especially the fact that they were all gassed to begin with. It's almost like they felt like they had looked at the page count and went, oh, we did this too early and we have to add something else. The story needed to be edited, so maybe making that fight that felt like the climax longer, so it actually was a climax. Maybe show Robin using his smarts with the gas more. It's a very quick scene, and like the whole importance of him defeating them at the end with the block coating of luminous material is to show that he does understand chemistry, so Batman can go see his teacher. By the way, the solution is it's not his grades. There's another kid named Richard Grayson, Richard E. Grayson, like Richard E. Grant. It is kind of surprising. Richard Grayson, I wouldn't say is a very generic name that someone else is named Richard Grayson. Apparently has the same class load, the exact same schedule. That's really what's surprising about all this. And it kind of pulls back on what could have been an interesting story on Robin legitimately losing his grades because, well, he's Robin. He spends nights out fighting with Batman. When does he get to sleep? He needs a lot of sleep to go to school. School is not easy, even for the boy wonder. Okay, that is it from Batman 18. Robin studies his lessons. Keep wanting to say Robin does his studies. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notification when new videos up. I do this Monday through Friday, but Mondays and Thursdays I cover a Superman or Superboy story in either Superman or Action Comics or Adventure Comics or Superboy. Please join us next time, same bat time, same comic book channel. Have a great day.